Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Tracklist podcast show. I'm Daron Jenkins.
And I'm Chris Saunders.
And joining us on the show today, a good friend, attorney, entertainment attorney, and writer, Rory Wells. What's going on, Rory?
Hey, Daron. Hey, Chris. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the program.
Yeah, and we're here today to talk about the 2025 film F1, which is an American sports drama starring Brad Pitt as Formula One racing driver Sonny Hayes, who returns after a 30-year absence to save his former teammates' underdog team, APX, from collapse. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt, Samson Idris, Barry Condon, Tobias Menzies, and Javier Bardem. This film was produced on an estimated budget of anywhere between $200 and $300 million. That's a lot of money, man, for a production.
It is a lot of money.
But it grossed over $633 million worldwide. So I guess, it all ends well, I guess.
Apparently 30 million of that was Brad Pitt's salary. So 10% was Brad Pitt's salary.
Well, yeah, see, I guess makes sense. Or actually makes dollars for him. So.
I mean,
well, they made it back, so you can't say. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
They did. They did. Not as much as I'm sure they wanted to. Like I'm sure they wanted to like at least quadruple their money.
At least, yeah. Well, I mean, this was Apple's biggest box office hit and highest grossing, and this is the highest grossing auto racing film ever. I guess they got to live with that kind of success, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and you got to remember, there's always room for sequels, series, and spin-offs if they choose to do that, I mean, this was such a big project, because they were filming at actual races in different countries, and so even apart from the Brad Pitt salary, it was a big project.
So aside from budget, we do have 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes, critics 82%, audience 97%.
Interesting. Okay.
7.6 is high for IMDb.
Yeah, that's kind of why I giggled when I heard that. I was like, okay.
So this is also so the director you mentioned is Joe Kosinski, who also did Top Gun Maverick, which we've done, Oblivion, which is Tom Cruise, Tron Legacy. He doesn't have a very long list of director credits here.
I mean, before I even before you mentioned that, I was going to say this movie feels like a Top Gun movie. It just has all the formulaic pieces to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also, I think Top Gun Maverick was also Jerry Bruckheimer as the producer, I think, and Hans Zimmer as the composer.
Score.
So, and this is Jerry Bruckheimer and Hans Zimmer's 13th film together.
Wow.
I mean, I'm a big Jerry Bruckheimer. Like when Don Simpson was alive, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer collaborations, and I'm a huge Hans Zimmer fan. I might like Hans Zimmer more than John Williams. And I work at Juilliard now. Like, John Williams is a Juilliard grad, alum.
Oh boy.
Oh, they're gonna come after you at lunchtime.
Maybe it's possible, but Hans Zimmer, man, um, Pirates of the Caribbean, Gladiator, I believe, The Rock, Crimson Tide. Like, he's so, oh man, I really do love his stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too. Where is this? Where does this
Oh,
rank in the
I think I got a freeze up
Zimmer
on my end.
pantheon? I don't.
Maybe that's a final question. Maybe
I
that's a
don't.
final question.
Yeah, yeah. We can save it toward the end of the podcast.
But yeah, apparently it's the biggest opening for Pitt's career after World War Z. And it generated 40 million through corporate sponsorships, so they did get some of that money back too. That covered Brad Pitt.
Really? Well,
That covered Brad Pitt's salary right there. So sponsorships.
yeah, yeah. They treated it like it was a regular race. They just slapped in a bunch of sponsors and I mean, Red Bull probably paid a significant amount of money just to be in this movie.
I mean, like you can't not have sponsors in this because of racing. Like everything is plastered over their cars and their uniforms and everything. So except for the made up racing team Apex. This because so I'm not a big racing fan, but Annis really got into the Formula One Drive to Survive series on Netflix. So then that was like a big fad when it was at least when it was first out. I think Peter, the board member, the evil board member, references that like, yeah, I've been watching Drive to Survive because he doesn't know anything about racing. And I have other family that are big into F1, and they all said it was pretty realistic as far as like I guess most of the racing stuff.
Yeah, we lost Rory, which is unfortunate because Rory knows a fair amount about F1 as he's an influencer in the F1 space. And when I met him, I had when I as a kid, I used to love Formula One. Used to love it. But then I grew up and moved into other stuff and whatever else. And after connecting with Rory, I started watching it again. So it was fun to kind of watch this movie and kind of know a little bit about what was happening, but not as much as, say, somebody like Rory, who I think is obviously there's a few different appearances during the movie that I don't know. Like this person, I guess, is somebody big in racing. I don't know who this person is.
No, I think I definitely, if there were, they went over my head. Except I think Lewis Hamilton. I briefly saw him in a clip.
Right.
But yeah, I watched for the first time. I really watching it. I watched it with my brother, who's big into it, and I didn't know about these like hard, soft, medium tire, all that shit. Never heard of that before. I watched it with him it's like 2 years ago. Um, I don't know. I guess like that was the one thing he did mention. Like I asked, I texted him after watching this. I was like, "So did you like the film?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, it was pretty solid, a little cheesy." Um, and I was like, "Well, how about the race scenes? Are they like realistic?" He's like, well, "Mostly like you're not gonna have a guy crashing into like other cars on purpose to give his teammate an advantage.
Right.
In fact, they don't work. They don't work together that much, really. They're called a team, but they're not really a team."
Yeah.
And like it's not the driver that's going to be making calls, right? It's like the pit boss that's going to be making the calls during the race. Like that's the Hollywood side of it, which we can talk about at some point. But it is a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, I mean they obviously had to change some things just because either it would be boring or it wouldn't make any sense. So
yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, yeah, when you don't know about a sport, it is kind of boring because you're not really following along. So I got a little more interested in it when I was sitting down with my brother and he was explaining it to me. But like, I can't say I haven't watched it since. So
I've
this
watched
movie
a few
could've been
different
real-
races.
What's that?
I've watched a few different races, like between the last 2 years. So.
All right.
Rory, are you in your car now, dude?
Yeah.
This might be a
I don't
first
know.
for us.
It's really, really, really frustrating. But I was getting, before I got kicked off, I was getting feedback on Chris's microphone. Were you hearing that, Daron, or no?
I wasn't, but
Okay.
don't worry. We record locally, so like Chris says, I have to do something on it. Fix it in post, as they
Yeah.
say in entertainment.
There you go. There you go. All right.
We were just
So anyway, I got a better signal outside.
okay.
Go ahead.
But we were just saying that I don't really watch F1 in reality, not the movie, but so like I'm not an expert on the sport, and I had to like talk to some family members and friends that actually watched it. But Daron says that you are quite the enthusiast, and I don't know if expert's the word, but maybe you could give us a little bit more insight when we dive deeper into this film.
Sure. You want me to go now? Are we going? We're good? All right. You'll have some editing work to do here, but that's okay, right? It's all good. So yes, I am a fan of Formula One. I love the sport. 20 plus races in a season. It's considered the pinnacle of motorsport, although other motorsports, certainly would lay claim to that title. However, when you're talking about Formula One, you're talking about these vehicles, they go, they're hundreds of millions of dollars. Now there's an 11th team. There was only 10 prior to this year. Each team has two drivers. So there's only 22 F1 drivers in the world. I mean, there's a reserve driver, but it's not like an NFL team, which might have 50 players on it, 32 teams. It is an extremely elite group. And they race on tracks, they race on roads, they race at night, they race in the rain, they race in the desert, in the desert heat, they race during the day. It really is, it's open seat. So it's really exciting. You have some of the most incredible engineers and aerodynamic folks in the world that work on these cars. Certainly it's a sport of billionaires. And, a few years ago, they started this series, Drive to Survive, on Netflix, and it really increased the popularity. It's kind of like football or soccer, where soccer is so much more popular outside the United States up until recently. Formula One is a global sport and is very, very popular, in Asia and Europe. But with this Netflix series that came on several years ago, it increased the popularity. You have a lot of these young drivers. They're good-looking kids. They're very charismatic. Some of them are funny. So they attracted a whole new female fan base from America to the sport. And it's really been on quite the run this last 6 or 7 years. So much so, Liberty Media owns the broadcast rights, for Formula One. And they went ahead and bought MotoGP. They added that to their portfolio. So, we'll see if they can do to MotoGP what they've done with Formula One, at least here in the United States. So it's a great sport. It's very exciting. During the season, they do have a 2-week break where nobody's allowed to touch the cars. We have a number of races, last point, and then, we do a go around here. But in the United States, we have 3 races. So we have one in Miami. We have one in Texas. All right, which one am I forgetting? We have one, on the continent. Not necessarily America. So we have one in Mexico City, and we have one in Montreal. So there's a number of races you can get to if you're either in North America or even in South America. So
yeah, and I think they definitely cover a lot of ground in the film, right? They definitely jump to a lot of different races. And you mentioned the Drive to Survive. My wife is one of those people that does not watch any other sports and got caught up in this whole thing. So yeah, it was definitely something that garnered a lot of interest here. And I think that's another reason this movie was necessary.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, I understand them trying to make a Top Gun for Formula One, which they were successful at. In the movie, they pick up with 9 races left in the season, and the owner, who's played by Javier, if they don't score a point or win a race or show some kind of upward trajectory, they could force a sale of the team if they're not competitive over, certain time, et cetera, et cetera. So in the movie, they pick up with 9 races left. One of them is the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and then the final is in Abu Dhabi. So it's very exciting. As a Formula One fan, I really did actually enjoy the movie quite a bit.
Okay. I mean, I like how they kick it off. The first off, like the great song selection for the first race we see Sonny in, Led Zeppelin, Whole Lot of Love. I mean, I don't know if has any relation to racing, but I like the energy it brings.
Yeah, for sure. I think Sonny's character, he crashed out decades ago in Formula One. He sustains an injury, but he goes around racing in all of these different races, and I think it picks up at the Le Mans, and that's where that track, the Whole Lot of Love, comes in. It was fitting. It was good. They started with a classic.
So wait, do you watch NASCAR as well, or are you strictly F1?
I was a fan of NASCAR in the past. I fell away from it the last couple of years. If I had more time, I would watch more NASCAR. But one of the appeals for me for Formula One is the different tracks and the different road tracks and actual tracks. Whereas NASCAR is an oval. And they have tried to break that up. They have,
and not going in a circle the whole time.
Yeah. And they do have the Chicago race, which they've tried to branch out. But when you're a motorsport fan in general, a lot of it is strategy in terms of fuel, when to change tires. So you almost have to watch 3 or 4 races before you realize what is there to it, as opposed to just watching the car drive fast. But once you start understanding the strategies and pit stops, do you stop, do you not? That's what really kind of makes it interesting. But I give respect to NASCAR, but at the moment, I'm just not. I don't have the time to follow that one as well.
And so, 2 other questions being: one, did they represent the strategy well in this film? And 2, have you ever heard of a driver jumping from different brands of racing, from NASCAR to F1 to Baja?
Different types of racing.
Yeah.
Yes. And usually it goes, when you get to Formula One, it's so hard to get there. And they will go Formula One when drivers have lost their seat or, maybe retired. They go to IndyCar, which is the United States version of Formula One. So all of the IndyCar series are in the States. And they have some great races too, down in Nashville and the Indy 500 and a big following. So, yes, some drivers have done other things. Even in this season, one of the top champions, Max Verstappen, he's not happy with the cars this year. And his off weekend, he went and raced somewhere else just 2 weeks ago. But typically, a Formula One driver will go, if you can make it to Formula One and you do your time there, which may be short and may be long, they will often go to other sports. There's a Formula E, which is an all-electric Formula Series circuit. So they'll get some Formula One drivers as well. And 2, just for your original question, they did a great job. Now, there's some creative license, of course, because it's a Hollywood movie, but they did a great job representing the sport. And one of the things that they did when they were showing the race scenes, the announcers were speaking very basically, almost like narrating what was going on to the uninitiated or uninformed fan. So I thought that was, they wouldn't necessarily narrate the race in real life like they did in the movie, but they had to educate you as you were going along. So I thought they did a good job there. And yeah, I had no problems with the representation of the sport. They did some things that were crazy that obviously wouldn't necessarily fly or they'd get penalized, etc.
I had to ask my brother about a couple things because he's a big F1 guy. So he was like, the crashing into the cars.
Crashing into the cars.
To give your teammate an advantage. No.
Like, not just once, but several times. You know what I mean?
That's a big deal. And if it's even suspected, it draws a lot of attention. So to do it like twice in one race, that clearly wouldn't have fly. There would have been some suspensions, fines, all kinds of craziness.
And then drive into some barriers while you're at it and bring some gravel onto the road. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit. But it was entertaining. I will admit that. I found it very entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, here's some questions. Here's some questions for Daron. What the fuck is that van he's driving? What year is this based in? What year is this based in? Because he's looking at a physical map and marking it up when he was trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is this? Since when is somebody using a physical map? Like, might as well just pull out MapQuest.
Yeah. I noticed, though, that, because Sonny Hayes' character was clearly a throwback 30 years. And even some of his tattoos were dated. They were like, clip art from back that day. So they did a good job
on his back.
That one. Yeah. So
that's when was this crash? When was this crash supposed to be? 96. So he was a driver.
I thought it was like 30. It was a 30-year gap.
Yeah.
That is
so
30
that was
82, 92.
Yeah.
Just so you know, that is about 30 years now.
Yeah.
90s, we're almost... Oh, no, 96 is exactly 30 years from now, which is really depressing. And then, by the way, how the fuck did Ruben find Sonny at the laundromat in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I wanted to know. I was like, what does this dude working for the CIA in this spare time?
He worked for MI5.
Listen, when you're a billionaire... When you're a billionaire,
Was he a billionaire? Like, because, I feel like he was broke.
Well, he said he was down 100 million. Is that what he says in the first scene when he comes to see?
No, like 320 million.
It was three. Yeah, it was like 3 something.
Million. Yeah. And he's still, he's still able to buy first class tickets, so he wasn't broke. So he might be in the billions.
I'm sure he was represented. Millionaires don't own Formula One teams. Millionaires don't own NFL teams.
Yeah.
They might own a piece. Maybe
they don't even own a piece. And it has to be a high million. Yeah. It would have to be like 6 digits. Or 6 figures. Right.
Yeah, his character was supposed to be a billionaire. Mm-hmm.
I tell you what I did notice the second time around watching this movie is when he is at the laundromat, like looking at, it's almost like wanted ads for racers, whatever. He's looking at the Baja 1000. So like that was his next stop if Ruben didn't catch him.
Yeah.
But then we see at the end that he ends up doing it. Cool
I'm sorry, but I had a problem with that because how often do you actually see a one ad, full page for a race car driver? Well,
let me go get my newspaper. Hold up.
I'm like, what? When do they put that in the like seriously?
Yeah.
You might as well just put out a Craigslist ad.
Yeah, that would be part of the creative license the movie took, because you could find a million drivers everywhere, and you're not going to trust a multi-million-dollar machine in some guy.
Dude off the street. Have you driven? Oh, I was a cab driver.
Yeah. And now the one thing about that aspect of the movie is when he did get there, he asked him his name. His name was Sonny Hayes, and they didn't really say if he recognized him or not. But the next question was, well, we can't really pay you. And then he says, it's not about the money. So you could assume they may have, when he said his name, they may have recognized him, but that wasn't really clear.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether they recognized him. I just assumed they did.
I assume they did too, but
yeah.
But yeah, kind of jump into that's my fault. We jumped to the end. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I thought when he actually finally gets to F1 to the Apex team and he's doing his road test, I thought the song they chose for that scene was pretty hilarious. It was Chris Stapleton, Bad As I Used to Be. Is that it? Yeah, Bad As I Used to Be. Which it could have two meanings because he doesn't start off very well in the track test, but then he catches up and he makes the team. So a couple meanings there maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. I just assume it's because it's the positive bad, not the bad. Yeah.
The Michael Jackson bad. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't use that song.
That doesn't fit. I don't think that fits for racing.
He's bad.
I'm a Chris.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, I'm a Chris Stapleton fan for sure. And
absolutely.
What was it? Bad As I Used to Be. No, I enjoyed the track. He's coming back. I'm still the man.
It's definitely
Chris Stapleton has
music.
another song. Yeah. Chris Stapleton has another song, Outlaw State of Mind, that I really like.
Ooh,
it's on one of my playlists.
I love that track.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but
I'm a huge Stapleton fan too, so we can talk about this all day.
I gotcha.
Yeah, Daron don't know what we're talking about. Don't worry about him, Rory. So I don't know if Daron caught this, but so we know Sarah Niles, plays Joshua's mom. I have to say, now I'm Jamaican. I looked it up. She's supposed to have Bayesian or Barbadian. She's supposed to be from Barbados. I know my dad has Bayesian friends. I'm sorry. I like Sarah Niles. She was in Ted Lasso and a bunch of other things that I enjoy, but that was not a good Bayesian accent. Sorry.
No, she failed. That was that was not a good accent. I'm not from there, and even I was like, where's that accent supposed to be from?
I mean, at the very least, I'm glad it was supposed to be Bayesian and not Jamaican, because if she was trying to be Jamaican, I was going to turn the movie off immediately.
Turn it off.
Yeah, that was an odd part of the story because I think as the driver, or his Joshua Pierce character, I think he was from the UK. I thought that was the flag he was flying.
Yeah, so his mom probably emigrated from Barbados, and he was born, there's a lot of Caribbeans in the UK.
In London and UK. So
their whole soccer team is Caribbean folks, man. The national team.
Mm.
That was a big
but
joke
she was
one of the last World Cups was England plays France. They were like, oh, Africa's playing Caribbean. So
well, I liked her. I just feel like it was this role was too small for her, to be honest.
Maybe.
Like they could have cast a little bit lower on the rung a little bit, because she didn't have that much. I mean, the biggest scene she had was the scene where she kind of curses out Brad Pitt, which
I have questions about.
Yeah, so
they probably, because they needed the Joshua Pierce character, he needed a sounding board. So they probably, and they had two roles, right? So they had his manager, and then they had his mom. And they probably could have combined that into one role, either male or female. You know, the manager really kind of just was like wanting some press and dragged them to the dance club, but it wasn't really a major role. So they might have been
Yeah.
able to create one role as really just really his sounding board. I mean, that's how I saw the mom, you know, and that role.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree. I mean, they probably want to show like someone from his childhood that's a friend that's like that, not like kind of like the
Yeah.
devil on the shoulder versus his mom who's
Yeah.
more the angel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. They could have combined maybe the PR person that was also there.
Yeah, that's
with,
what I was thinking.
With the friend, the manager, because she's trying to get him to do press as well and like all that stuff, right? And
Right.
also, you would think that would also be her job for social media as well. So like, yeah, they could. That's one place they probably could have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah, because she was basically trying to get him to do some of the same things, right? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, it might change who you cast for that role a little bit more, but that could have definitely been just one character. So
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I did
not
have
that
an
I'm
early,
trying to take a job away.
I did have an early like what the fuck moment. And it has to do more with like F1 than this movie, but like the number of technicians and engineers that work for one team is absurd.
Crazy, right? Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like if you were a baseball player on a major league baseball team, but instead of like, 15 baseball players, there's like 3 baseball players and like a whole bunch of like data dudes and medical people, and that's it. Like there's like more.
Yeah.
It was just, which is, I mean, I guess it makes sense because you're talking about the state of the art technology when you're talking about an F1 car, and very few people on the planet can probably work on one of those things. So
it's even more than you might think. If you're not a regular fan, you might not have caught it, but a Formula One team will have, and they essentially break these cars down. There's like 10,000 pieces. They crate them up, they ship them to another country, and within 2 weeks, they put them back together again. So you have the engineers, you have the leadership of the team, you have the pit crew, you have the drivers. Those are all folks that are on the scene. But if you remember from the movie, like they show scenes where they're riding in the simulator and where she's working, the Kerry Condon's character is working in the wind tunnel. That's the factory back home. So let's say you have 50 people on site at a race. You literally, some teams have between 500 and 800 people back at the factory, and they'll communicate. So they'll be running algorithms back at the factory and including at the race site. Every scenario, if one car, crashes, now they run 1,000 more scenarios of who's left in the race, when to turn. So the algorithms are continuously running, and that's going back and forth between the factory and the actual race site. So a full Formula One team is hundreds of people, hundreds.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's crazy.
That scene where Sonny comes to the factory and everyone's there and he's saying hi to everybody. Like that's kind of what I was referring to about how many people are involved.
Right. It's crazy. Yep.
which is why it's a sport of billionaires, because you got to pay a lot of people to make this thing happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Say also, man, like I already mentioned, like Hans Zimmer, but like his ability to create tension in music is unmatched. Even just in the scene where Sonny is studying, like catching up on Apex and their cars and everything, and the whatever tracks he's going to be racing on, like it's just you feel the tension, and even at the end, I'll talk about it later. Like when at the end of the film, there's like almost a different kind of tension, but I just noticed it throughout the film, like not just the track list that we're going to also talk about, but also like the score. And I don't have the vernacular to talk about it, but if you haven't seen it yet, you shouldn't be listening to us, but go back and watch it again and listen to the music, man. It's so, I don't know, such a huge fan.
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer is, if we had to do sports comparisons, he's the GOAT. He's the Wayne Gretzky, he's the Michael Jordan, he's the, I don't know, New Yorkers, the Manny Rivera of closers, he's
Sonny Hayes,
the Tom Brady, Hans Zimmer would, all of the movies he's worked on would be equivalent to multiple rings. He really is incredible. His stuff is incredible. And he delivered for this movie as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the one thing I saw is that you get this classical or traditional or orchestrated music, but you also have this electronic digital side, and it was intentional to bring like the orchestrated stuff. Traditional stuff was more like the human side of driving, and the digital or electronic music was like the car, and so that's how they kind of fused it together, which is I find very interesting. I don't think it's the first time we've seen that in a film, but I thought it was interesting that they did that.
Yeah. I did have one early what the fuck moment. And I'm not sure if that car is worth millions of dollars. One car is worth millions of dollars. Why in the world would you let your kids climb all over it? I'm sorry, but
that's what Joshua said. Jungle Gym, $1 million jungle gym.
No, I was like, you better get your ass off my car.
Well, if it was a black owner, that shit wouldn't be happening.
Yeah. But you notice when the owner came, he did scoot his family away, like
Yeah.
So there was some
gently.
Yeah. There was some like, the boss is here, get off the car.
Seriously, man.
Well, actually, that's a good question for like that first run where Sonny's quote unquote trying out, but like, Ruben says they're trying him. They're not trying him out. He's trying the team out.
Yeah.
Do you think Rory, like, is that a realistic run where hasn't, I don't know how long it's been since he drove F1, but going from a NASCAR race to F1, would you have that much difficulty adjusting, you think?
I don't. Over 30 years, the cars have changed so much to, even with the other racing that he was doing, because he was in the Le Mans before. That's
right.
where the show starts. So he's driving modern cars that are up to speed. But a Formula One car is built for the season and almost for each race. And the seating is really fitted to that driver of that race. So, in my opinion, he wouldn't have been able to jump into the car and pull that kind of speed, the same thing that, even though he was a rookie, that he was doing. That was a stretch. If he had time, of course, he was a Formula One driver, but the cars have changed. A car 30 years ago is not even close to a car today.
Well,
so that was a stretch. That was a stretch.
You see clips of the car he was driving, which actually leads to my pop quiz. Daron loves these. What? I'm gonna let Daron write it down on a piece of paper, and you can show it after. Rory, you're gonna be the first one to answer. What is the name of the sponsor on Sonny's car as a rookie?
Oh.
As a rookie.
I can give you a hint. The car is yellow. So the brand is yellow.
Chiquita Banana.
That's a good guess. No, it's wrong though.
All right, I wrote something down.
No, you can say it. I want Daron to write it down just to make sure he's not cheating.
Oh. Obviously, it's a guess because I don't remember, but I just wrote Penske.
No. That's a good guess. What you got, Daron?
I don't know.
Chiquita Banana?
Exxon.
Exxon is red.
It's red and yellow.
It is Camel, the cigarettes. Camel. I actually thought that would be like.
Yeah.
I thought you would notice it. It's so like. I guess cigarettes and cars both have smoke coming out of them. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, that was
back
our
then. It was good.
They all smoked back in the day.
By the way, I don't know if you also caught. They were talking to Sonny and they said you have 9 times you have to beat Chuck Norris, and I'm like, what? Was that a misquote?
Oh, no,
because it wasn't. They did call him Chuck Norris.
They were referring to Sonny as Chuck Norris. It was a racial comment.
Like, okay. Shout outs to Chuck Norris, I guess.
Yeah. Well, R.I.P. Right? He just passed away 2 weeks ago. Shit.
Yeah.
Another goat.
Yeah.
He's something.
I have to say though, I would have liked to have seen more of a montage of Sonny training and like getting back into F1 form. Kind of to your point, Rory. It's kind of a stretch that he'd be able to jump back in the car and automatically like adapt to it.
So you need that Rocky running up the steps moment, kind of.
We have it like for the races, like several races. They do have like a montage, and I understand. By the way, we had mentioned this is a 2.5 hour film, so like there might have been this and it got cut out. But I would have just liked to see that, just so I'm like, it's not a stretch to me. That's like, oh no, he's been training and he's like getting on the track and like now he's comfortable with it. Now I can believe that he's gonna jump in and start like contributing to the team, right?
To me, it's like it'd be like if Jordan decided tomorrow he's coming back to the league. I'm like, no, really?
He would do it. I believe it. No,
he would. He'd get his ass whooped.
No, I mean, talking on people. No, I believe it.
It would be ugly.
But you can't discount though that they had him racing in other races during his time away from Formula One. So it drew comparisons to Rocky IV with the Russian, because
yeah, I guess
Pierce's character was running on the treadmill. He was using the technology, and Sonny Hayes' character was running on the track. He was using the tennis balls for reflexes and for timing. He was, strengthening his neck muscles on the bed, whereas the Pierce character was using the pulley machine. So and if you remember in Rocky was running outside. He was lifting logs and all of that stuff.
I remember. I definitely remember.
Wait, spoilers.
Yeah, and
it's on fire. We have to do that, by the way.
Yeah.
We've done Rocky 1, but like Rocky 4 has some jams in it. I don't want to.
I just want to do it because of the fight scenes.
Yeah,
Rocky wasn't always the
great.
most realistic fight scenes. But yeah, I definitely get like there's definitely a parallel there with like the natural training versus the technology enhanced training
versus machine. Yeah.
And then,
but they didn't do a lot of it for Sonny Hayes, and even then, I think the movie was over 2 hours. So
this movie could have easily been another they could have added another 30 minutes, but I'm glad they didn't.
I'm sure it was edited down from that.
Yeah.
But actually, I have to be honest with you. I don't think I felt the 2 hours and 30 minutes. I thought the pacing of this film was really good. I was interested most of the time. And like maybe a bit predictable Hollywood storyline, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I was okay with it. I don't think Daron was okay with it.
No, you know what? Look, if you watch Tom Cruise in this last Top Gun, then you should be okay with this movie because they're pretty. It's pretty similar. I mean, you got Tom Cruise who hasn't really flown for a long time. Now suddenly he's in F-35s doing like these crazy bombing runs, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of hard, dude.
Yeah, but he was riding the motorcycle when he was off though. So, you know.
He might as well have been riding a Schwinn.
Well, you know what's funny is that I actually, because I saw some trivia that said initially this film was going to be considered a sequel to Days of Thunder. And so I actually did watch Days of Thunder last night / this morning.
Had you seen it before?
No, that was my first time actually.
Oh, Days of Thunder, it still holds up as a terrible movie.
There you go. It's pretty fucking
I never got
cheesy, corny.
Yeah.
Rory,
I
you
never
should
even
watch
got through it.
I
just watched clips. I just watched a couple clips and it was never for me. And then later, obviously I got into motorsport, but yeah, I guess I'll have to torture myself at some point and get that in my system.
You know what I think is a better I don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel, is because, like, bear with me. So Sonny gets into gambling. So my tie-in is that he's actually Rusty from Ocean's 11, and in between these different races that he's doing, he gets into gambling and then teaching celebrities how to gamble, and then he's got his boy and they do a heist together, and then he comes back to F1.
Oh, and then you can have George Clooney's character, Danny Ocean, trying to scam the dude, the investor who was trying to scam.
So I feel like you were just about to shit on me, Darren, but now you're all in. You're all in. Pun intended. You're all in on this idea.
You know what? That actually kind of fits. It's kind of
Rusty,
fits.
Sonny, he changes his name, but it's still got the YD. Hey, never mind. All right.
It's an Ocean 11 spinoff.
Ocean's F1. Ocean's F1.
Why people don't listen to this podcast more and do what because we come up with some great scenarios here.
I just got another $200 to $300 million movie right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brad Pitt is like the most likable, unlikable character.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's a bit of a dick in this film, but like you're just like rooting for him anyway. I don't know why. At least I was. I don't know about you guys.
No. I think he has there's a little bit of what the fuck in him. So, but yeah.
Whose character? Who are you talking about?
Sonny.
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely arrogant, but he comes in with a mission, right? So his best friend of 40 years essentially needs to save his entire investment and his legacy. So he wasn't coming in to do press and make friends. So he was a bit of an ass, but I was okay with it because it wasn't over the top, I guess, in my opinion, you know.
Actually, because I love the fake stall. It's at the first race. And then he just has some time to like warm up his car while everyone's waiting for him. But then I hated like he wouldn't let Joshua by. Right? So it's just like that love-hate thing I have for this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, Rory, as I'm trying to watch, like if I'm watching a race and like Max Verstappen decides, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and wait until before I start my car. How that probably won't go over very well. I don't care who he is.
Yeah, it would. That was, once again, that goes into the creative license bit, because then, for why he did it was when he pulls up at the start of the race, his tires are warmer than the others, which gives him more stickiness as opposed to the others. So he delayed his start so that his tires would be warmer than the others. And then if you watch, once they dropped the green lights, he was able to make some passes pretty quickly. But that he would probably get a fine and a threat to never do that again. You get called whenever you do something wrong or there's an investigation. You get called to the stewards after the race, and you can win the race, go to the stewards, and lose the race, and they'll announce even after the podium, after the champagne. We looked at it. This one was disqualified. This one lost seconds, and they changed the lineup and re-award. That's a part of Formula One that I don't think is a part of any other sport.
And
when the football game is done and the clock is out, the game is over.
They're not.
And
the Super Bowl doesn't end with like somebody going to the stewards or anything.
Yeah. I mean, and even baseball, there's appeals, but they never flip the winner,
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something I feel like they could have just hinted at the very because we didn't see any of that. They could have just been like, they just could have had someone run over and be like, "Oh, you've been given a warning," and then run the fuck away, right? Just like something to hint at stuff like that, just so there's more realism to the whole thing. So I wouldn't have mind just like it wouldn't have taken up too much time. It wouldn't have added too much time to the film.
Yeah. Well.
I was.
Go ahead. No, I was going to ask. With this movie, and I think I mentioned this to you, Chris, before Rory came back on, is that there are a bunch of different like cameos in this movie. But if you're not familiar with the movie, like racing, you have no idea who this is, who these people are. And it was one or two, and we'll talk about maybe if we have enough time at the end of the podcast, a couple people that maybe, Rory, you might have recognized, and like, because I know when they win, they finally win, and they're all running down the road, and Javier Bardem gets stopped by this guy, and they talk for a little bit before he runs on again. And I'm like, that guy got to be somebody. Why would they do that if he wasn't somebody?
It seemed like another owner. Like, I don't know if you noticed that, Rory.
I think it was another owner, but it slips my mind who it was right now. But because they were filming on actual races, on race days, before the races started, because it wasn't just Apple, it was Formula One, and Lewis Hamilton, 8-time champion, produced it. So they did a lot of filming at the actual races. So pretty much all of the drivers were real drivers in the movie, except for the two stars. Yeah.
And so what about, there's a scene where the I don't know what you call it. It's not a pit boss, is it? A pit boss for Apex is in an interview with two other guys. And
the guys from Red Bull and from
whomever. And they were like, we don't really think about them or whatever. We'll think about them in our back view mirror, rear view mirror. It's like, were those two real? I don't know.
Yes,
pit bosses.
that was the. I guess they were, like the team captains for McLaren and for Ferrari.
Okay. So there you go. See, I didn't know if those were actors.
Formula One fans. Yeah. No, they were legitimate team principals.
Okay, team principals. Yes. And also jumping to another character we haven't talked too much about, which is Joshua Pierce. I have to say, I really didn't like this guy, but like that was my design. Right, young, cocky, arrogant, inexperienced, and immature. So well done, Damson. You got the right the emotion you wanted to out of me.
I like him as an actor. Very much like him as an actor. I think he's one of the up and coming actors in Hollywood. And yeah, you're right. I did not care for his character, which obviously was the point. Very.
Something about him as a next Black Panther, by the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. He's actually pretty. What's that show he's on? Snowfall? Is it Snowfall?
Yeah, I saw
He's
that
so good on
Yeah.
that.
I haven't
He's
seen it.
so good.
Yeah. He was, and when I was promoting on social media quite a bit, I've since got to return, but for a while I was really doing some regular posting on Formula One. And when they first announced the movie, I had done a couple posts really attacking the age of Brad Pitt playing a racer. In real life, he's clearly too old. And also Damson, because he was 31, I think, when this was filmed.
Oh, really?
So my critique, yeah, I'd have to Google his actual age, but a lot of the drivers on the grid are, in their mid 20s. They came up through Formula 3, Formula 2. They've been racing since they were 6. And usually, if you're fortunate, you hit the grid when you're pretty young. Now, 31 is not old, but for a rookie sensation, it's a little bit old. But I thought one, he did fine playing his role and playing a young rookie. I had no problem believing him, and they're cocky. They want to be number one like any other sport. So I thought he did a great job. And then I thought they did a great job covering for Brad Pitt's age as well. Really making it like, calling it the Hail Mary. Like, yeah, we know he's old. This is a shot. And that really was the whole story, So I enjoyed it. It didn't take anything away from me.
Yeah, well, I think Damson also doesn't look like he's 34 now. I don't think he looks 34 in the movie. I think he does look like he's in his 20s. So that didn't take me out of it. I didn't know how old he was. I have a question. So the whole it is a training montage. I think that's what Rory was alluding to when you see the natural training style of Sonny versus the technological one of Damson. And we're actually during that training montage, they're playing. They have Burna Boy song playing. Don't Let Me Down. Love me some Burna Boy. My question is, during that training montage, when Joshua's walking by Sonny's room, and Sonny's throwing the tennis balls off the wall, and he's got headphones on. Is Sonny the one listening to that Burna Boy song? Does it sound like his style of music?
No, not at all. But
I wouldn't have given that to Sonny's music. I can't remember if they said where he was from in the States, his character.
Is he California?
But clearly,
where?
he was 80s. So he was 80s, so I would pitch him as classic rock,
So the Led Zeppelin song it starts out with.
Yeah.
But
and then, they had some Queen in there. But there was a lot. One thing I noticed while listening to the soundtrack, because there was like 4 or 5 songs that were, heavy auto-tune techno. And one of the things, which I don't mind, I listen to all kinds of music and I appreciate it for its art form. But over in Europe, a lot of the times the DJ is the star. You'll go to a concert, not necessarily just for the performer, but the DJ will be like the Tiestos and all of these other guys. So after I listened to the soundtrack again and realized how much techno and dance music they had in it, I thought, well, that might be good for the overseas crowd, obviously, because this movie is going to be played worldwide, et cetera, et cetera. And 1 or 2 songs I thought would have been great. But when I heard 4 or 5 songs with really heavy techno beat, I was just thinking why. And I thought, I wonder if it was because, the international audience, particularly Europe, because of how they, Amsterdam and all the DJs and the light shows and everything that goes on, with a DJ
sense.
kind of performance.
I think that makes sense. And then before the last race, they actually show. I thought they would do a longer clip, but they show a clip of a DJ playing to the crowd at the track.
Who I
Yeah.
think was
Before they all
famous
just-
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird to me. I thought that must be a famous DJ, first of all. Why would you not spend more time just like maybe it's like a little
Yeah.
flyby
yeah,
or a longer flyby. So that was a little weird to me.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
EMD.
Well, Tiesto was in there.
Was that the club scene where Joshua and his manager go to the club?
I don't know. I don't know if it was there or if it was at one of the tracks, but I do remember seeing Tiesto. I don't think it was the club scene. It might have been another scene.
It was when the driver and teams get ready for the British Grand Prix.
Yeah. But you want to hear something great. I've watched it 3 or 4 times. This is, I think, the third Las Vegas Grand Prix coming up. So they've had 2 so far on the Strip. And the first one, 2 years ago, the opening concert that they had Jared Leto's band. They had all of these diverse musicians. What's his name? Aoki. He played, and it's on YouTube. So the Las Vegas Grand Prix opening concert for the first race. Incredible. The diverse music and kind of like what Formula One did here. They said, look, we're going to get top people from different genres and put this great playlist together. But that's an aside, not necessarily for this, obviously, this podcast, this soundtrack, this movie. But if you want a treat, I really, really enjoyed the pre-race concert from the first Las Vegas Grand Prix, 2 years ago. So there's a little free bonus material there.
I don't know. Most of the artists that were on this track list, honestly, I couldn't tell you. If they walked up to me on the street, I would be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I mean, that was one thing I would say. Like, I think you would recognize Don Toliver and Doja Cat. I recognize
no,
Burna Boy.
Toliver, no. Doja Cat, yes. Yeah, I don't know that.
Burna Boy, Queen. There's a Gary Clark Jr. song. The first song I ever heard from him, Bright Lights, is on this track list. So Chris Stapleton, Led Zeppelin. There's some folks. There's some stuff.
There's some folks on here.
Ed Sheeran is the closing song for the closing credits. Like,
Yeah.
I think you recognize half the people, dude.
Yeah, Tiesto, I don't know who the hell. It sounds like some kind of allergy drug. Pausa sounds like some dog charity or something.
I don't know.
Give to Pausa.
There's a song where Joshua was driving to his mom's house by Darku.
I don't know who that is.
Heard that artist before. No, give me
Darku?
love. I like the track.
Is that a new Darth Vader? That's not a new Darth? Darko? I don't know.
Darku, yeah.
Chris Stapleton, I know, obviously.
I feel
Billy
like Darren's
Squire.
I feel like Darren's trying to promote his "May the Fourth Be with You" party.
Not yet. To tune in for in about 10, 15 minutes, and that's, yeah.
I do have to jump in to our segment. So hold up, Darren. You referenced this earlier. Now I know Joshua's mom doesn't know racing and cars because they say it earlier. But Sonny saved her son's damn life. How is she gonna just get on his ass? Like, Sonny pulled her son out of a burning car.
Yeah.
How is she gonna get up in his ass like that?
Well, I think I asked that same question too, but I also understand now that she doesn't know strategy a lot. So from her standpoint, she just assumes that, which is wrong. You should never assume. She assumed that somebody had him do something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. But I'm just like, don't you, with something so important, don't you want to get the facts straight before you come attack,
Also, just like, before you start chewing them out, thank you for saving my son's life.
Thank you.
But, like, just lead into it. Something. God damn.
Yeah, that was kind of scary. That crash was scary. I ain't gonna front.
those happen, and obviously people die on the track. But the one thing about the mom character, because they didn't reference or talk about his father, I don't think I remember. I don't even remember like a throwaway line. Did she say something?
Yeah, just about like how old they both were when they lost their fathers. That was really the only thing.
Well,
yeah, 13.
His mom also says, remember what your dad would tell you, like,
oh right,
or something. I think it was just but yeah,
so
not too much.
Just that as a race fan, these guys start off kart racing when they're 4 or 5, and 7 or 8 would be late if you're naturally gifted. NASCAR drivers like Gordon, racing when they were like 4. So his mom would have been going to races, for 20 years.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be so.
She would
especially
know a
if the father
bit
wasn't around.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be so. Yeah, she would know strategy and issues and problems. So they made her a little bit too naive to the sport to be a racing mom. You know what I mean?
That is true.
In real life, it's like somebody who drives their kid every week to baseball. They know everything, when they should steal, when they shouldn't. If you do that for 20 years, when your kid is having a bad day or not. You could see him on the field. So that was a bit, I think, just, adding tension to the movie. I didn't have a big problem with it. They did clear it up later where he goes and tells his mom, he was actually right. I should have listened to him or something like that. But it just, in reality, though, these racers, they start young. You'd have to be super gifted because you develop skill and strength and reflexes and timing. That's not, I couldn't jump in a car and I can push the pedal down and go fast, but I'd end up in the wall too.
You have to have mad reflexes.
Side note,
yeah.
I just found somebody else in the credits. Simone Ashley. Do you recognize that name, Rory? Because she plays herself, so she must be F1 related.
She's.
Anyway.
I'm drawing a blank. The name sounds familiar, but I'm drawing a blank. Yeah.
Anyway, I just caught my eye. I do have to say I feel really bad for one character in this who gets like no love whatsoever because he's the teammate of Joshua before Sonny gets there.
Oh yeah,
and he jumps in when Joshua gets injured. Luca Cortez gets no love in this movie too.
No love.
Yeah.
Poor dude.
But that happens. That happens in real life. You're the reserve driver. You get called up. You go in for a race. The regular driver comes back. He's not sick anymore, or whatever, and you're gone. It's like you're fighting for a seat. Now, one thing Formula One does do, they have a few practice sessions, and then they qualify before each race. And then they also have, on like 9 or 10 of the races, they'll have a sprint race, which is also for points. But at some point throughout the season, you have to put a rookie in one of the practice sessions. So even though there's 22 drivers, at some point you pick your race, you pick which qualifying section. And sometimes, we'll have 2 or 3 teams at the same time have 2 rookies from Formula 2 or, wherever that will get some time in the race. But Luca, who I guess had the contract, but then was demoted when, he got kicked to reserve driver, which they didn't show him racing at all, right? They just showed him, they showed his face and they had his name out there. But, the reserve driver, that's exactly what you are. You can go a whole season without racing,
Well, by the way, Simone Ashley she's an actress. She was playing herself as an actress in
Actress, okay. So she's not F1 related. Okay. Well, I mean, we talked a little bit about the music, but are there any like particular songs that jumped out at you? I mean, kind of related to one of our final questions, but we mentioned Queen, Gary Clark Jr., Chris Stapleton, Led Zeppelin. I don't know this Steve and Chris group, but they have a song called Underdog that's pretty prominent when Joshua comes back. Or nothing, no songs that were like, "Ooh," for you guys.
First song.
I liked Underdog a lot.
Oh yeah, okay.
I liked Underdog a lot. Roddy Ricch. I liked Drive, Ed Sheeran's end credit scene. The old classics, the Queen was great, and I did enjoy getting to know some of the new. They're not new to me. They're new to me, but not necessarily new to young people that were, like Rose did the song "Messy."
I didn't even hear that song.
Tate did "Just Keep
movie.
Watching." Yeah, there was a few that I enjoyed getting to know. There was one, Peggy Gao, I think, did Dance, and they were pop dance music. But Mike Tower did the Spanish song.
What? It's when he's going to the Baja, on the way to the Baja?
Yeah. And actually, the song is called Baja California. Yes. And he sounds remarkably like Bad Bunny in the song, I thought. And then when I heard the song, then I had to pull him up and see what he looked like. And he was in interviews, and they were talking about, Latin hip hop and Latin music. And I guess he's friends with Bad Bunny, but I didn't know him. I enjoyed getting introduced to him as well. So there was good. I thought Lose My Mind was pretty good. There was a little bit too much auto-tune, but I did enjoy Doja Cat's rapping. So I enjoyed the soundtrack. I did. I really did.
Yeah. I'd say overall, yeah. Actually, I forgot to ask if there's any quotes or other what the fuck moments that you guys wanted to bring up. I have a few.
Well, that whole speech that Sonny makes about when him and what's her face is out on the balcony.
We didn't even talk about Kate. Carrie
we didn't talk
Condon's
about her at all.
Character, Kate. Yeah,
she was okay. She was there.
She's based on like actual first female engineer.
Oh, really?
In F1, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I loved their character. I thought she was cute. That was the big dramatic, dialogue piece, right? When he's talking about I'm flying and that sort of thing. It was a touch cheesy, sure. There was the one part where he gets the team all riled up and they're like, combat.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a big rah-rah, emotional, trajectory there. It was okay. In terms of, I guess that's an odd question for me. Because I'd have to think about, WTF moments, but I'm not pulling a lot of quotes specifically from the movie.
It's not a very quotable movie. But
no,
not for me.
I liked their first interaction, Sonny and Joshua, where Joshua was like, "When's the last time you run a race? English. When's the last time you won a race? Sunday, Daytona. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Formula One. Oh, I'm sorry. Then same as you." I like that interaction.
Yeah,
that was a great line. I liked Javier's character. I thought he was excellent. Mm-hmm. And when he's yelling at him in the hospital, he's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And he, he finds out about the seriousness of his back injuries, and Brad Pitt then jokes back, "Revenge for Monaco," and Javier's like, "It's not a joke, Sonny." I thought that was good. And then actually that was a quotable line, was like, he's like, "We're losers. We're broke. We're losers." And then that was some foreshadowing, obviously, for the end when he says, "We're winners. We're the best in the world." But I thought that was, for a movie I didn't tune in for the acting, I thought that was a pretty good scene. It had me. I was into it.
Javier had me in this fucking movie. I thought you were gonna mention the scene where he's yelling at him in the ice bath, and And
Oh yeah,
what
yeah.
Sonny's like, is she married? He's like, stay there. Stay
You
in that
stay
tub
in the tub.
until
Yeah.
Budapest. Don't move. Like, I love that scene.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, uh, actually, now you got my blood flowing. The when he comes back for the last race, and he comes walking back down the paddock, kind of like he did when he initially. This is Sonny Hayes' character returning to the team,
Mm.
and he says, "How did you get here?" And he says, "Premium economy." Like he flew,
Yeah.
like he couldn't even fly first class. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Premium economy.
Was that one
Yeah.
when Joshua when they're doing the whole poker scene and Joshua's like, didn't he gamble for a living? Yeah, now he's living in a van.
Yeah.
Let me
He
live in
says
the van.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would argue it's not super quotable. There's some quotes though that
Yeah. No,
enjoy.
I give it to you. I give it to you. Once I started thinking about it, sure, for sure. There's a couple good lines. Yeah.
Are we ready for some
Yeah.
final questions?
Sure, why not?
I actually don't have some like our classic ones. I don't know if Daron wants to introduce them, but
I have a new
thought
one.
yeah, I had a this is just based on other racing films. Like, where does this fall in comparison to Ford versus Ferrari, Days of Thunder? I'm throwing cars in there like Talladega Nights, Rush, like Gran Turismo, all these other, and you can name some other like racing films. Like, I please don't do Fast and the Furious, please don't.
It's
But
not racing.
where does this fall in the pantheon of racing films?
Um, just based on the ones that you just mentioned, to me, it might be the best one. It might be. It might be the best one, just simply because of.
I haven't seen Rush.
Oh, you haven't seen that? It's okay.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, the difference in this movie is all the camera work, the sound, and the drama of the cars. You know, he had like 21 cameras hooked up to these cars for the Apex GP team. So any other race movie, you're not going to get all of the shots that you got with F1. But the only other race movie that, to me, because I'm a late fan to racing, I came as an older man. But there was one that was a couple years ago called Gran
Turismo.
Turismo, yeah.
Where the kid wins the tournament from the game simulation.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. Yeah,
Gran Turismo, it's okay.
And I thought that was good. And that the character that plays I guess the sheriff or cop in Stranger Things was the team principal for Porsche. I think it was Porsche. I like the story. I think the racer's name was Jan.
Okay.
I thought that was a pretty good race movie, but this for me, I don't know if there's anything close to it. I would say
interesting.
You know, this in terms of just race movies, you know, I mean, in terms of acting and dialogue, it's not there. But for race movies, yeah, that's my number one for sure. Easy.
Wow.
Hey, Rory, you know, but one of our Story Lab members actually worked on Formula One, the F1, the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember Jorgen?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that positioned the cameras on all those cars.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's still over in Europe, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's overseas, right?
Yeah, he's over there. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Daron, you said you had a new question?
So yeah, as I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking of the character that Carrie Condon plays. And I'm wondering if there's someone else who can play her role. And my thought was, is this a role that you could see Charlize Theron in?
I feel like she's too big for this role.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean if she were to play this role or in another?
No, this role.
Because they could clearly do in this role. I don't know. I told you I love Carrie Condon. She's cute. I think she did a great job. I was pulling for her character. I don't know. And, obviously they have initiatives to bring women into the sport for real. And there is one, I think, actual engineer now on one of the teams. I forgot. I wish I've been so busy the last couple weeks. I'm not as spun up as I should be, but they have initiatives. And it's not necessarily that they're trying to keep women out. It's just that there's so many good qualified men available. You have to really force the issue. But they're making progress in terms of females in the sport. But it's just, like I said, there's only 11 teams. And it's not, there's just not a lot of room. They have a whole development league for women drivers. And they're good. They're good young kids racing, 16, 17 years old. But that program just started a year and a half ago. So maybe 7 years from now, we might get a female in Formula One competitive, We'll see.
So I guess.
But I don't know. I don't know who else I would put in that role, though.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head. I think because she was a good fit for the role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not
I mean, if you look at the top, if you thought of just the actresses in general, right? Scarlett Johansson, Emma Stone, I don't know. I'd have to. I mean, now that Carrie kind of did it, and she had the accent, she's from Ireland, so a lot, obviously, this was born over in Europe, UK, so that's where all the best teams have factories.
So
I don't know. I'd have to think
keep
about
it with
that.
her. We keep it with her then. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, Carrie Condon, the voice of Friday in Avengers, the voice of the suit, Iron Man suit, once the other voice is gone, once Vision goes to another thing. But yeah, man, she's also been in Night Swim, Skeleton Crew, the Banshees of Inisherin. I mean, she's definitely on her way up. I think she's good for this role, but I don't know, in like 5 years, maybe not. Okay. So I'm just gonna jump into like my favorite song. I'm a big Ed Sheeran fan. I'm a big Chris Stapleton, but also Gary Clark Jr. Gary Clark Jr.'s song "Bright Lights" is my favorite, and just because lack of any other song, "Drive." I'll take the obvious song. Ed Sheeran's song "Drive" is the song that I think encompasses the story. Any other options for you guys?
Me, I think the song that I enjoyed that Chris Stapleton song. I thought that was good.
Bad as I used to be.
And then the one with what was the first song from Aerosmith?
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, sorry. Yeah.
Whole Lot of Love. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
Was that in here? I didn't think I heard it. I know it's supposed to be like the anthem for F1. Like BBC has been using it since 1978, but I didn't hear it. Did you hear it?
I thought I heard like it's really. It's almost like they tried to turn down the volume on it. I'm like, why?
Because that would have made it $310 million budget.
I did also like the "Don't Let Me Drown."
Yeah, I wrote that one down. Rory, do you have? I mean, you named a bunch yourself, but do you have a favorite song?
Yeah. Well, I still listen to Queen on my playlist regularly, but if you're asking me which song encompassed the movie, I'd say Bad as I Used to Be, because the whole story was about this guy who was super cool back in the day coming back and proving. And in the movie, I thought they were going to make Damson's character win the race. And I thought, no way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously, it goes the way you would think. But so I would say that Underdog is a close second that I think is kind of the story in a song. And I enjoyed. There's a lot of songs on this soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed about 6 or 7 of them for sure that I discovered that I will continue to listen to. But Drive was incredible. I thought that was awesome. And to have him zipping over the dunes, it was a little fast. It was a little more aggressive, I think, than Ed Sheeran's regular style. So I really liked that and appreciated that. And when I heard that song again, it actually brought me back to my youth. I used to, I loved driving. And just thinking about it, and I was going to talk to you, it was the end song. It was really kind of, it left on a high note. And I started thinking about other movie end songs, like, that really left an impression with me. Like, The Matrix had Rage Against the Machine, and the Warriors had In the City when they're walking down the beach at the end. So I started thinking about these ending scenes. The Equalizer had a song called Vengeance, where he's walking on the beach, I think, at the end after he kills everybody. The Equalizer first one, Denzel's character. So,
oh, right.
Yeah. So,
so this is up there? This one is up there with those?
I thought Drive was really, really good. It was fun. It was upbeat. I don't think the movie tried to be anything it wasn't. I think you were going to get a great drama, some obstacles to overcome, and you were going to get a happy ending, and you were going to get a nice send off. And I think that's if that's your formula, then I think the movie delivered. And I think Drive,
pun intended. If that's your
formula. Exactly. Yeah, and that's where the name comes from. You're putting together a formula, the best car for that season, for that race, for that day. How much fuel, what wings, if the wind changes, are you going to switch not fenders, but, wings. You're really trying to solve a puzzle for that day, for that time. And if it starts raining, you have to change your formula. So that's kind of where they actually get the name for the circuit. But, so anyway, to wrap it up, Drive, I think Drive is, for me, it was my favorite song of the movie. Mm-hmm.
So with all that said, you kind of summed up everything. Out of 10, what are you rating this film? 10 being the highest.
Well, are you going to go, Daron, or you want me to go?
Well, you're as guest, you get to go first. I already know what
All right, so my score is going to be high because I like overcoming and happy endings, right? So I like Rudy, I like Rocky, I like The Matrix, The Warriors, all of these overcoming odds, big, epic, happy ending movies. I'm a big sucker for that. The acting wasn't the greatest. Would I recommend? The acting was very good, I guess, for the roles and the movie, but it wasn't like The Departed or The Godfather or anything like that. So I did watch the movie twice. Long run up, I'm going to give it like maybe a 7.9 or an 8 out of 10, which I think is a little bit biased high. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, that's fair. I did not dislike this film. This is the second time I've seen it. I saw it the first time in the theater. I generally like stuff that Brad Pitt does, except for maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I will never watch that probably again. There's a lot of diversity in the soundtrack, which is nice. It was I can see why this movie was nominated for sound design and cinematography because it's shot wonderfully. Is it the best acting movie? No. So, but but at the same time, I can see why people would like watching this movie. So, I gave this a 7.5.
7.5. Dude, the way you was talking, I thought you was gonna give this shit like a 6 or like a 4.
No.
Yeah, no. I honestly like. I really enjoyed it. Like, I do want to say when we're talking about acting, I loved Javier Bardem in this movie. I thought he did an amazing job just based on like his previous body of work with No Country for Old Men and Skyfall.
He just needed to kill more people in this movie.
Pirates of the Caribbean, like with like Pirates of the Caribbean, Dune, whatever. Like it's just such a very different character for me, and like I feel like that really rounds out what he's done. And I'm gonna cut this as short as possible, but like there's just one scene when Sonny's coming back and he says, "If it's the last thing I do is drive that car, I'll take that life, man." And Bardem like opens his mouth to say something, and then just like closes it, and like kind of very subtly shakes his head, and then like Sonny keeps talking. It's just I love subtlety. I always talk about this, and like anyway, I just wanted to mention like just Bardem, his performance in this I thought was amazing. The only reason
I agree, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's even close to Javier in the acting department in this film. For acting, he's way above everybody else. He was incredible. I agree.
So the only reason I give this a 7, I don't know the lowest person here, is because it is kind of predictable and formulaic. You have this like these obvious like conflicts between him and Joshua and him and pretty much everyone, Kate and his friend, and then like someone gets injured, someone sabotages, they come back and they like right, they have success and something happened, right? Like it just felt like obvious. But that being said, like maybe I just don't have to think about it too much, and it's an enjoyable movie in that sense. So 7 I think is a good 7. Like definitely watch this movie. It's fun.
I would say it's a fun movie to watch. And you don't necessarily need to know more about racing.
I didn't.
Yeah. I think they could do another one. I think they could do another one with
Tom Cruise.
Joshua Pierce's character down the road a little bit.
Did you say Tom Cruise?
But if they brought a new young bad guy into it and Joshua Pierce was a little more seasoned, maybe he's fighting for a championship. There's room for, obviously Brad Pitt wouldn't be in it unless he did like a cameo or something, but
he's the principal. He's the new principal.
He's the principal. He's the new principal.
He could be.
Yeah, I think they were
I could see
about,
a second. Yeah.
I think
it made $633 million. It's going to have a sequel.
Well, the sequel's going to cost the sequel is going to cost that much, and they're going to hope to make like 12 million. 12,
right.
1.2 billion. No, but I think on the first success of the film, they were already like thinking about a sequel. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm glad I saw this on the plane, and like I enjoyed it. So I thought the soundtrack was decent. So I thought, hey, we should do this, and I'm glad we got it, and we have our resident F1 expert joining us today. So thank you, Rory. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
What do you any projects you're working on you want to talk about? Anything interesting going on?
So, yeah, I'm trying to move in the entertainment space here. I have a couple projects that hopefully one day we're doing one of my movies on the track list. You never know. In terms of Formula One, I've laid out a business model to build a Fan One community in the United States as the sport continues to grow. And that would include a number of things, merchandise, a website, a podcast, a whole slate of items to go towards specifically targeting that community. So hopefully by the end of the year, I can make some progress on that. it wouldn't be enough to get it up and running for this season, so it would probably be for the next season. But those are the two projects that I'm working on right now. I am an attorney. I still practice law. I'm helping a couple of writers develop their scripts, and I have my own projects. So between entertainment, screenplays, and motorsport, we'll see. We'll get some exciting stuff done. My window is probably 1 to 3 years where I'll have everything up and running, where I think I'll be comfortable. But right now, it's nose to the grindstone.
That sounds amazing. I'm very busy. That's great to hear. I want to hear what Daron's got coming up.
Daron has podcast coming out. So this morning I interviewed one of the actors from One Piece. So that'll be coming out next week. That's going to be fun. Obviously on Wednesday nights, as Rory is well aware, we do our story lab. So that has been going on for almost 2 years now, dude.
Yeah.
And we're still going strong. And then at Planet X, we are working on an event to celebrate Star Wars, which I can't say more about yet, but it's coming. And yeah, that's it for me. How about yourself, dude?
I am looking for venues to play. I have a couple of venues in Brooklyn, a couple of venues in Harlem that I play at pretty regularly, but I'm trying to find some new ones, like in more of a central location, Manhattan, that I can get people out to. So stay tuned on that. I think I almost have a gig confirmed for England in June. So just waiting to get confirmation on that. Otherwise, hoping that my reggae EP will be moving forward a little faster in the coming month or so. So keep your ears out for that one. But, keep always moving.
Well, so if anybody is listening to this and they have or know of any venues where Chris should be performing in Manhattan, please make sure to DM us on the Tracklist show on Instagram. Or contact Chris directly at Saunders_music.
Yes, please. Cool. Well,
Gotta get you in New Jersey, Chris, North Jersey, and certainly we have a vibrant music scene, and especially in the summertime, all the beach bars, and obviously Asbury Park, Stone Pony, Atlantic City.
If you could give me a gig at Stone Pony, you definitely let me know.
All right.
Yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah, no, I'm always looking I play mostly in the city, but I used to live in Hoboken, so I played out there a little bit, but always looking for interesting new opportunities. So definitely let me know.
Sure.
All right. Well, Rory, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man.
I enjoyed it. Hopefully you have me back for another movie in the future, but this one was great, obviously with the Formula One angle.
Yes, sir. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us then. I want to make sure everybody knows to follow Rory on TikTok at Rory Wells NJ. You can find Chris at Chris Saunders_music. You can find me at the Daron Jenkins. And as always, please like and subscribe and follow us at the Tracklist Show for our podcast and all the other things that we're getting into. But until next time, I am Daron Jenkins.
I'm Chris Saunders.
And this was the Tracklist. Stay safe, everybody. Eat your vegetables.
Thanks, guys.